So if you're watching this video, then that means you want to become a millionaire. And the reality is why you're not a millionaire is not because of you weren't gifted some sort of business that's making $1 million a year. It's not because you didn't win the lottery. And it's not because you sell your body online on one of those weird websites. But in reality, it's because you have not shifted your mind to having a millionaire mindset. And so here in this video, I'm going to break down some millionaire mindset shifts that will completely change your life, make it so much easier for you to become a millionaire, to make a lot more money, to get rich, and to ultimately live a better life. So I made a list on my phone. We're going to go through that. And it all starts off with money equals freedom, not Ferraris, not Lambos, not expensive watches, not any of that stuff. A lot of times we see the person in the Ferrari and it's like, we don't want the Ferrari necessarily. Like that's what we think we want. We think that we want to be the person with the Ferrari, but in reality, we just want to be the person who is the person in the Ferrari. We want to be that guy or that girl because they have something that you don't have, which is the ability to even afford a Ferrari in the first place. And our monkey brains associate material things to the person and the status that you have being that person. And so instead of worrying about like, okay, what are the material things? Nothing wrong with necessarily buying a Lambo or buying an expensive watch or a dream house, but instead focus on who is the identity of the person that I want to have that is the person that owns that thing. And in reality, we want the freedom that comes with the person that has a Ferrari. They have the money to buy a Ferrari. They can choose what they want to do with their financial means. They can do whatever they want with their money versus trying to just pay their bills or trying to live the current lifestyle that you're living that doesn't have a Ferrari. And so it's more about what it represents and not about what it has. And so you want to care about never stressing about the bills and also being able to disappear on a trip whenever you want, which brings me over to my next point, which is you want to focus on the identity of the person that you are becoming. A lot of people, they view making money backwards or success backwards. And so a lot of people think they have to do the things to have the things to be the person. So they have to do the work really hard, get all the bonuses and all the raises and all the praise to then be able to buy the Ferrari, to then be the person that drives the Ferrari. And in reality, it's ass backwards. All millionaires understand that it is a completely different way. And that's why they become millionaires versus other people. And instead, it's who do you need to become? Then what are the things that person, who they are, what do they have? And what are the person, what attributes does that person have? What do they do with those attributes? You see how this is backwards? You see how success is actually backwards in the way that the logical brain wants to try to attack the problem? And so focus more on who do you need to become? What does it feel like every single day having a business that makes, let's say, $30,000 a month? What does it feel like every single day to be a millionaire? What does it feel like every single day to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want? And focus on that. Focus on what does that person do? What are the attributes of the person? And so when I was first trying to get rich, you see, I was always trying to figure out how to do the things, do the tactics, and I was always just like, how do these people come up with this stuff in the first place? It just felt like I was just trying to find like a gift from God to be able to go build a business or to be successful. But it wasn't until that I started to actually shift my brain towards like, who are these people making the money? How do they come up with these ideas? How do they even do this in the first place? That then it made me become the person that was able to make millions of dollars, be the creative genius that was able to actually make some money, and realizing that my ideas were actually asked because I was operating out of a terrible place. And so I started watching and studying a lot of millionaires online. I started watching YouTube videos. I started following them on Instagram. I followed them on social media. And I would try to really find the videos where either they were interviews asking about like who they were, how they become successful or rich, or I would find the videos that they posted where it was like them actually describing who they were, and it was like seeing what their personality actually was. And I realized that all millionaires had very similar personality traits. They all take action on things that will get them closer to their goals. They also had a really strong reason of actually making money in the first place. They weren't just like yeah, I mean, maybe they wanted to make money for the sake of making money was nice and stuff, but in reality, it was just like they had it like as if like it was all they could understand. It was like it was their way of life. It was they were just making money. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was like imagine that you could fly as a bird. And it's just like, yeah, you just fly as a bird. You don't really think too much of it. You're just somebody who makes money as a byproduct of you existing. It wasn't they were going out of their way to do all these things. Maybe at the beginning of their journey, they were trying to really figure it out. But in reality, they just existed and they made tons of money. And in reality, they then started making the actions and doing the things that made them rich, which brings me over to my next point, which is your environment makes you rich. So if you're in a place with a bunch of people that are working 9-to-5 jobs, if you're around a bunch of people that are doing drugs, smoking weed, drinking all day, if you're surrounded by a bunch of people that aren't doing anything with their lives, it makes it insanely difficult for you to go get rich, for you to change your life, for you to want to do anything more, and for you to think bigger. Versus if you're in a place where everyone's building businesses, everyone's doing something with their life, making millions of dollars a year, everyone's trying to become jacked and fit and strong and look their best version of themselves. If you're surrounded by a bunch of people that travel the world frequently and are doing cool stuff, what does that say about you? You're probably on your way of becoming rich. You're probably jacked. You're probably going on some trips and stuff. You're a product of your environment. And you see, I grew up in a small little farm town where nobody was doing anything with their lives. You ever hear a story of somebody who became rich or traveled? It was a rare commodity. If I ever saw a Ferrari, it was like maybe once a year, maybe once every 2-3 years, realistically. Nobody ever had any fancy cars or anything like that. The nicest car I would see on a regular basis was a Range Rover or a BMW. Now I go to places where I see a $500,000 plus car on a regular basis, pretty much every single day. I see people wearing very expensive watches. Everywhere I go, there's a $5 million house. Like the average house at some of these places I go to is $5 million. Some of them are 10, some of them are $30 million. And it's like the barometer of success and wealth changes dramatically by your environment. And so if you're surrounded by a bunch of people that aren't doing anything with their lives, it's hard for you to want to do anything with your life. And so one millionaire mindset shift is, how do you get out of your environment? And luckily we are blessed with the internet and cell phones, and what we can do is we can even start listening to millionaires on our phone, off podcasts, on YouTube videos, on these different sources and platforms. We can start listening to millionaires and start injecting their thoughts into our brains. And so a few people that I love listening to on my come up was Bob Proctor. Rest in peace, he was a great man. His content was great. There's another, Jim Rohn was incredible. Ed Milet, who's still alive and very incredible content as well. Myron Golden is this incredible guy as well. Tony Robbins. Alex Becker was somebody who I listened to very frequently. Alex Hormozi was another one. And so these are just some that come straight to my mind. Gary Vaynerchuk is another one. And these are people that I would listen to every single day. And it's like a lot of people will listen to these people because it feels good, but the reality is the real business owners, the people that are making tons of money, the people that are living the financial future that you want to have, those people are listening to these people religiously every single day. They're dumping all their thoughts and all their ideas into their brains every day, so much so that it just becomes natural and you start thinking like these people. It's like if you're wanting to become a pro basketball player, you would watch the game tapes and the games of the basketball players that are the greats in the world today and in the past. And you would be constantly watching them, so much so that it makes you become better. Like something I recently started picking up was chess. And I'm not going to pretend I'm like some god tier chess player. In fact, I just hit 1,000 ELO on Blitz. But I went from hitting, I think I was originally on a 500 ELO and I got up to 1,000 this year. And a lot of it was just every single day I was watching Hikaru, I was watching Magnus Carlsen, I was watching Levy from Gotham Chess, and some of the different lady chess players as well. And I was watching these people every single day for the past 6 months. And so just naturally as a byproduct, I got better at chess because I would watch their games. I would see how they would break down the games. I would see what they would say. I would see how they'd make decisions. I'm not going to pretend I'm some sort of grandmaster at chess, but naturally as a byproduct, I got good at the game because I was watching and listening to these people all the time. I naturally just wanted to play more chess because it was just always listening to it. And then on top of that, I was getting better at it because I was just listening to people that were far greater than I am at the game, that I just naturally pick up on a few things here and there. Now, obviously, it's going to take me some years to get to the point where, I have passed a 2,000 ELO. Hopefully, maybe I can do that in the next year. But realistically, the next couple of years, few years, and it just requires me to constantly download this information. It's the same if you want to do jujitsu. It's the same if you want to do karate. It's the same if you want to play guitar. It's the same if you want to build a business. You have to just surround yourself in this environment to where all these people are just consistently doing the things that they are doing, because you realize that willpower is very finite, discipline is finite, but environment makes it so much easier to have success. Like for me, every time I go on TikTok, which most people would say TikTok is a bad thing, I'm always watching people that are making content, and I'm watching people that are making millions of dollars off their content, even millions of dollars a month off their content. And every single time I'm watching these people on my feed, I'm thinking how I need to make more content, how I need to make more videos, how I can make my videos better, because I'm seeing how they're performing versus how I'm performing, and trying to take a little bit from them every single day that I watch a video. And so every time I go on TikTok, I'm motivated to make more TikToks. Every time I go on YouTube and watch some videos, I'm always motivated to play chess or build businesses. Anytime I get on a phone or text any one of my friends, they're reminding me how I need to become more successful. And so my environment is curated around me becoming more successful and becoming more rich. And in reality, the goal isn't just to make a bunch of money. This is the next point. And instead, time is the real flex. The ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want is the real flex at the end of the day. Like I tell everybody right now, I'm actually about to go on a trip to Europe. And so many people are like, oh wow, is that for business or for pleasure? And in reality, it's for pleasure. It's because I want to go to Europe. Because I can. Because I don't have anywhere I need to be. As long as I can record some videos, as long as I can get on some Zoom calls and have an internet connection, I'm able to make millions of dollars a year. And that's the real flex. It's not the millions of dollars a year that I make, but it's the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, wherever I want. Like here it is, Sunday. I decided, you know what, I want to work today. I want to make some videos for you guys and make some better content, which it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like play. When a man loves what he does to make money, a man will never work a day in his life. And so if, man or woman, and so if you love what you do, that's the real flex, is you never feel like you're working. You're just playing. It's always play. And when it's always play, you're always making progress on things that other people would fail to make progress at. And so the real flex is the time that you get and the time freedom in the world. And so a lot of people that become millionaires, they're not necessarily seeking to have $1 million in the bank. They're seeking the freedom and the ability to do whatever they want, whenever they want, without any sort of rules, policy, bullshit, lines, or whatever telling them where they need to be. They pay for the first class ticket for the flight. They go on the extravagant adventures. They pay for the experience. Like I valet park everywhere I go, so I don't have to go find parking, because $20 makes no difference to me in my bank whatsoever, and I'm just saving time. And when I'm saving time, it's easier for me to make more money, because I put so much more of my energy towards money and towards growth, towards progress, and towards myself and towards my life, that it's just a natural byproduct that I make significantly more money. And the next one is, you don't want to be fucking Rambo. So many people, they get into business or they want to get rich and they want to do it all themselves. The life that I live today could never be something I did by myself at this point. I need other people in my life in order to have the success that I'm having at this point in time. I need advisors for financials. I need advisors for marketing. I need advisors for sales. I need advisors for the growth of my business. I need advisors for investments. I need help. And I don't need to be the expert in everything. I just need to be the expert in one or two things. And then I get to build myself around me a bunch of experts at these other fields of area. And I realized this when I first got into business. I realized how important accounting was, and having a profit and loss statement, and knowing where your numbers are and where money is going, where it's not going. And I realized that I hate doing that. I realized it sucks. I don't like doing accounting. But then I got on a call with one person and they loved it. It was their favorite thing in the world. They loved accounting. It was like, dude, just give me all the numbers and I'll do it all. And the crazy part is, you find out that they're not even that expensive to hire somebody who loves accounting. And now I'm like, yeah, sure, here, take it. Yeah, cool. I felt like I was cheating them. I felt like I was like taking all the good parts of making money, and then they get to do all the boring shit. And that's how it works, is you can hire people that love what they do, that makes your business grow, or makes you more money, or makes you more profitable, or makes you more effective in the world. And it makes it so you can make far more money, have more time, have more energy to do the things that you need to in life. It's the same with like cleaning your house. Some people, they love cleaning houses. Some people, it's already their job and they already are pros at doing it. You can pay someone $500 a month to clean your house. You can pay someone to cook all your food. I don't really cook too much. I don't really have a kitchen a lot of times when I'm traveling. I just go to places where their chefs are already good at cooking. I'll cook a good meal when I have to, and I'm great at cooking whenever I need to cook. But in reality, it's just like people are already doing that. You could just hire them to cook food for you, or just go out to dinner to get food I probably spend about $10,000 a month just on going out to dinner every single month. Why? For one, it allows me to have more time and connection with the relationships and personal people in my life. And then it also allows me to eat every single day without having to put a bunch of time into it. And I get to put that energy, thought, headspace into making more money. And that brings me over to the next one, which is that a lot of people are afraid of taking risks. I say never take advice from the person who has never taken risk in their life, because every person that's ever successful or building businesses and are making tons of money, they all incurred risk, and it was calculated risk. It wasn't some sort of lottery at a casino like type of risk, but instead it was calculated risk. It was like the highest odds of success, and you're just stacking the odds in your favor in business. And so every person that's ever made millions of dollars that you're ever gonna meet, they're risky people. They took on risk. Now what you're doing in business is you're trying to reduce risk and you're trying to find asymmetric returns. So when you invest into something, the upside is so much greater than the potential downside that it is a stupid idea not to invest into the thing. And then they're just diversifying their investments into multiple different things. They're trying out multiple different business ventures. Like when I got into business, I tried drop shipping, I tried Amazon FBA, I tried starting a marketing agency, I started trying to do YouTube, I did real estate. And while some of those worked, when I got into YouTube, it made me the most amount of money with the least amount of work. And I ended up enjoying it the most out of everything else. And then that became the thing that made me millions of dollars. And it's because I tried all of these different avenues, and some of them failed and made me no money. I just lost money straight up. And then some of them just hit an instant home run. And that's how it works with making money, is that you're just taking on risk calculatedly, and you're trying a bunch of different things. And when you're the person who's the vehicle of that risk working, like you're the person that's running the business, you're the person that's building the YouTube channel, building the dropshipping store, building the agency, you are growing more skill sets. You are becoming more valuable in the marketplace. When you become more valuable in the marketplace, it makes it so much easier for you to win. And so these are the few things that are constantly running in the back of my head, like constantly, unconsciously running in the back of my head, that you just eventually reach a certain skill level of mastery. And so these are the 4 pillars of mastery that I would declare that it requires for you to get rich, which is unconsciously incompetent at making money. So at first you don't even realize that you suck at making money. So this is a lot of people, they're going through their day-to-day life, they never even question it, they're not even problem aware enough to realize that there is more potential in life. Which then brings us over to the next stage, which is where you are probably in this video, which you realize that you suck at making money. You realize that you are not a millionaire because you suck at it. You just don't do the things that millionaires do. And this is the stage that feels the worst. You feel disgusted at this stage. You hear about these people who are making all this money. You see these people that are way dumber than making way more money. You see the unlimited potential that is out there, the untapped potential that's out there, but you're just not tapping into it. So this is where either most people, they just go back to, you know what, screw it, I don't care, I don't want to be rich. Or if, you know, hopefully that's you, you're unlike those people, you're like, how can I get good at this? And then this moves into the stage, my friend, which is consciously competent. So this is where you start to develop the skill sets. You start to work on the programming that's inside of your brain and the thoughts that you have. You start to change your environments all around you of other people that are successful and setting yourself up more for success with your environment. You're constantly listening to videos like this that's on this channel right here. You're constantly talking to people that are rich. You're constantly trying to reprogram your brain to become rich until you start actually tangibly getting some results. This is where I got to a point where I was making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month with my businesses. And at this point, it took a lot of active effort. If I wasn't consciously competent, I was consciously incompetent, and I knew I sucked because I wasn't doing the things that would make me competent. And you're kind of in this little lull of like where it's a very active effort to make a ton of money, but at least it's like you can actually have control over your life. And if you can sit in that phase for long enough, you start to pick up on a lot of patterns, you have a lot of data, and you pick up on a lot of nuance. And if you can sit in this phase for long enough time period, you will eventually get to the phase that I call unconsciously competent at making money. You're unconsciously a millionaire. Everything you do just makes you money. Everything you touch turns to gold. Everything that you do and think and process and do as an action in the world just works because you have consciously gotten good for such a long period of time. Like I've consciously made thousands of videos on YouTube and all these different platforms and social media. Like just in the last 4 months alone, I posted about 1,400 TikToks. And when you just do that many reps, you get to the point where you unconsciously are good at everything that you do, or like unconsciously good at the activities you start to do. It's like the grandmaster of chess. They don't really consciously think about how to play chess. They just naturally just move because they've just played thousands and thousands of games for decades that made them so good at playing chess that they don't even really think about it. They just act. They don't really think too consciously about it. They just move. And it's the same with money. When you've just done it for long enough, you work towards it long enough, you put enough reps in, it gets to a point where you don't even think about making money. You just are a millionaire. So congratulations on this journey of becoming a millionaire. Now obviously at this point it's just doing the work. It's doing the things that we talked about inside this video. It's applying it religiously. It's not about just a one and done fixed solution, and that's what most people are looking for. They're just like, hey, just give me the bullet, I'll take the bullet, and then, or the pill, and it just provides me the solution. No, it's just something that you're consistently doing and incorporating it into your routine on a regular basis that will actually get you the results. So one thing you can do is just spend 30 minutes to an hour listening to videos every single day of people that are a decade more ahead of you, or at least where you want to be in life. That in its own will start programming you differently. Doesn't take that much effort, but just constantly seek out better videos for you or content. And if you really suck at content, you have such a tough time with dopamine, just start reading books or audiobooks as well. It's a lot slower of information, but if you just really have a tough time, delete social media and do that. Otherwise, just watch YouTube videos like this. The next thing is to constantly try things and take risks that will get you to something that'll make you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. You see, most people, they shoot themselves in the foot by never trying to get rich in the first place. It's like, if you never try to get a six-pack of abs, you'll never get a six-pack of abs. But if you just keep showing up and keep trying all these different businesses over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, over the next year, over the next 2 years, over the next 3 years, it's inevitable that you will get rich. And so if you just do those two things, incorporate in your habits to consistently consume content, and then also you are consistently trying different businesses, or like being consistent with the business that you are trying out, you will become a millionaire. So anyways, that's what I got. Drop a comment down in the video how this impacted and shifted your beliefs inside of here. That's my goal, is to allow you guys to all get rich and unconsciously program you all to become millionaires. So anyways, sayonara. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.